And thank you for joining us for the second half of The Factor Uncensored. An important reminder for any parents or guardians watching tonight. There are strangers lurking on the internet. You probably know that, looking to lure children and young people down life-changing paths for the worse. My next guest has more details in his new documentary you can find on YouTube TV called TLAC Now TV, and it's called The Hidden Pandemic. Let's take a look. And joining us now on The Factor Uncensored, we have with us Greg Dupree with TLAC Now, a former police officer and private security expert. Greg, you and I have for at least a month been talking about how kids could be in danger, teenagers especially, on social media and on the internet as a result of individuals out there targeting them to take
Right.
advantage of them. And now the FBI is ringing the alarm. Tell us about this group that was formed right here in the state of Texas. I think the leader is already in prison, but there's still tentacles out there.
It's a group that was founded right here by an individual, Braley Cunningham, Caden Hill, in Stephenville, Texas. And he was recently sentenced to 80 years in prison for exploiting the children. And
when you say exploiting the children, explain that to the viewer exactly what he is believed to or been convicted of doing.
Okay, basically what he was doing and his associates, they were scouring game sites, video game sites and game boards, luring children into the dark web or away from the gaming site. And then they would manipulate them into doing everything from self-mutilation, sending photos of themselves nude, and actually prompting some of them to even commit crimes.
Wow, wow. And these are adults we're talking about. And the main perpetrator, who's already in prison, he was pretty young, though.
He was. He wasn't. He was a teenager when he started the group. He's about 19 or 20 now. And the main perpetrators aren't just adults, Isaiah. That's the most unique thing about this code is the fact that you have kids as young as 13 manipulating some of these victims, and a lot of their victims are a lot older than they are. So it's a very unique cult in the sense that the perpetrators can be any age.
And what kind of game did they get out, or is it just sick behavior?
Well, it's not normal behavior. Suffice it to say, it's very sick behavior because they've done so many different things and committed so many grotesque types of crimes, and some of them, aside from that, they've actually tried to commit crimes to overthrow the government or create chaos. And as I said, we had one individual that murdered his parents. That he actually had a plan to assassinate the president and the vice president of the United States.
Yeah, and he was recently arrested. He hasn't been adjudicated as of yet, but that's still an ongoing case.
Exactly.
Now, this is something you have been warning parents about, and now the FBI is backing you up. Not specifically you, but they're saying it's a problem out there.
Yeah, it's the FBI has become involved there. They've started this massive campaign to warn parents about this. You know, Isaiah, we've been talking about it for the better part of 2 months. And now with the FBI getting involved, we're actually seeing just how large and massive this cult is because it has its tentacles all around the world. And the fact is that they have been operating in secrecy for so long that we have no idea how many kids have been exploited through this cult.
And of course, you have put out a tutorial for parents out there, and it's on your YouTube channel, TLAC Now TV.
Yeah.
For those who would like to know what to expect when they look at that video to guide them, what can they expect?
Well, basically, it's an awareness video. You know, it's a brief awareness video giving you the origins and the roots of the organization, how it was founded. Explains how they operate, what are some of the strategies and tactics they use to lure children, and it also gives parents a few steps and a few tips to monitor on how to monitor their children and determine whether or not they're involved in not just this type of cult or any type of cult. You know, just give them, I guess, more tools in the toolbox to protect their loved ones.
Don't go anywhere. We'll continue this discussion after the break. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We continue our discussion on internet safety, particularly when it comes to vulnerable and impressionable children. My next guest has more about his new documentary detailing that and what you need to look out for. It's called The Hidden Pandemic, and it's on TLAC Now TV on YouTube. Let's talk about it. What would be a valuable piece of advice would you give parents to make sure their kids are protected from this group 764 and others that may be out there? Because you mentioned others that are out there looking to exploit children.
Right. There are other online cults like this that do exploit children. Too many to go into right now. But the biggest tip I would give parents right now is to monitor your children's online activities. You know, if you should not let your kids go online and unchecked. You should be keeping up with everything they're doing online, and you should also be keeping up with everybody they contact online. But not from the standpoint of being a parent that's very judgmental or critical of what they're doing. You want to maintain an open line of communication with your children so that they feel free to discuss what they're doing online. So you can show them the dangers of what's out there online and how they can protect themselves. And you also want them to feel free and be encouraged to come to you if they encounter someone who's trying to exploit them.
Absolutely. And when you think about the job that parents have before them, we're talking about monitoring laptop computers, desktop computers, and
Tablet,
cell phones.
exactly, and
So
cell
you
phone.
have to be vigilant with your kids. And as
Exactly.
nosy as hell as a parent. I mean,
Exactly.
you know, a lot of parents are like, my kid wants its own privacy.
Yeah.
No, you're protecting your kid from monsters out there. Your kid's exposed to the world now.
Exactly, and I laugh, but not because this is a serious issue. But I think about dealing with my own children. They felt the same way. They want their own privacy, and you get your own privacy when you move out of my house. So as long as you live here, we're going to continue to watch what you do, just for your own protection. Because we've been around a lot longer than they have, and when we get information like this, it's important that we share it so we can protect our children.
I always say, if you lived a day in your life, then you come talk to me. But you still have a lot of life to live. And once again, for those who want to get that tutorial on your YouTube page, TLAC Now TV.
TV, exactly.
Just go there and
just
it's
go to
free
YouTube.
to watch.
Exactly. It's free to watch. It's free to watch.
All right. Greg Dupree, always good to see you here on The Factor Uncensored. And thank you for what you're doing for the children of the community and around the country, because we're on Fox Soul as well. We want to make sure they take advantage of this. Once again, it is TLAC Now on YouTube TV, TLAC Now TV on YouTube TV.
Exactly.
And we'll have it on the screen so people can know where to go get this tutorial to protect your children from those various cults out there. And you can put it in any type of situation where your kid may be exposed to possible danger online and on social media.
Exactly.
All right, Greg Dupree, always good to see you here on The Factor Uncensored. And of course, we will see you next time. And of course, don't forget to check out his video on YouTube to keep your children safe. Thank you, sir.